Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker loses top box office position. That's a headline on today's movie news.
Yes, Stephen, you are absolutely correct. This one is coming in from Screen Rant, and as you did say, The Rise of Skywalker has lost its number one position at the box office in the United States. I'll add that little caveat. It may have lost its number one position in the box office over here as well, but we don't get updated box office numbers because we're just plebeians here in the United Kingdom. But I digress, it's lost it to 1917, which opened in its Friday spot with a grossing of $14 million. It's projected to hit, I do believe, $20 to $25 million. I'm turning around here because my iPad's here, incidentally. And that tops The Rise of Skywalker's projected $15 to $16 million weekend in its fourth weekend at the box office. So finally lost number one. This time, 2 years back, I want to say, it was The Last Jedi and it lost its spot, I think maybe around the same time to Jumanji. Welcome to the Jungle. Not really a surprise, Stephen. This movie it's not doing amazing at the box office. It's not doing shite either, though, let's be honest.
No.
It's just about to cross over $1 billion. I'm not entirely sure if it's hit that mark yet. I know it's close to it, but they're saying it's not even going to catch Rogue One now. So what is your overall thoughts on The Rise of Skywalker's box office? I don't think you've actually spoke about it yet, Stephen.
No.
And then we will be, of course, doing a review for 1917 this Friday, and we both enjoyed that movie, so I'm glad to see it's topped it. If any movie was doing it should be 1917.
When you're comparing The Rise of Skywalker to Rogue One's figures, then fair enough, you're comparing it with another Star Wars film, John, but gone are the days when Star Wars could really dominate the box office for long periods of time. The last time that would have been probably The Force Awakens to an extent for the reintroduction of the franchise, but its heyday obviously was the original trilogy and to a lesser extent the prequel trilogy. So you've got so much competition these days as well, so many talented directors out there with stories to tell that people want to hear. You're right, 1917, both of us went to see this film, John, absolutely loved it, absolutely amazed at the visuals alone, the sound, just to sort of touch on it lightly. I don't really want to get into it too much because we will be talking about it more in depth on Friday's show, but you're right, I mean, it's just one of these things now that you're just going to have to get used to. You're right, that Jumanji film did exactly the same thing 2 years ago. It probably was a bit more of a surprise then, because I think it was probably the first time that it happened where a Star Wars film didn't hang on to number one for a lengthy period of time, but gone are those days. I think we just have to get used to that now. There's so many good films coming out here, certainly in the UK, because we've got a bit of a backlog of decent films, that are really good films, I should say, that came out at the tail end in the US. Obviously, I think this film 1917 actually came out on Christmas Day in the US, but we've actually we've just got it. So I mean, it's not anything too surprising. It's you can compare both films, but I think it's very unfair because they're two different type of films. But I think Sam Mendes, it was a personal sort of project for him because of his grandfather's involvement in the First World War, the Great War, whatever you want to call it, so it was obviously something that he had been wanting to do for a long time, and it's getting its rewards now, and you can see why. It's a really good film.
Yeah, Stephen, look, you're absolutely right. As you did say, it's just, I think, maybe a whole array of different things that are coming into play here. In fact, I actually wasn't aware that it was the 25th of December 1917 came out over in the States, incidentally. I thought it may have been a situation whereby the critics in maybe two main markets, i.e. Los Angeles and New York, maybe got it earlier, then it came out the same time as it does here over in the States, more as a wide-scale release, and that's perhaps why it topped The Rise of Skywalker. I thought this was its actual opening weekend, but if that's indeed the case, it's been out for since the 25th of December, then that's all the more remarkable that it's actually managed to top The Rise of Skywalker. Maybe a little pre-Oscar, post-Golden Globes boost for it, because it is getting such good word of mouth. Of course, it did pick up a number of awards at the Golden Globes. And again, I think it's just a combination of that for the States. It'll probably be the same over here when it finally reflects the box office numbers here. I think it will top The Rise of Skywalker because it's just such a good movie. It's getting great word of mouth, great critical response, and it's the rise of Star Wars as a brand has lost its aura. We spoke about this before. The Rise of Skywalker is just, it's not that actual movie's fault, it's just a combination of factors. Kathleen Kennedy's mishandling of the franchise, Disney Lucasfilm's mishandling of the legacy characters, and this is it coming back to bite them up the arse. People aren't going back and watching the movie 3, 4, 5, 6, sometimes 15, 16 times. There may be one or twice and then they're done, and that's hitting the bottom line. But it's not hitting it too badly because they are still going to hit $1 billion. It will be the 7th movie to have hit over $1 billion in the 2019 period. I know it's carried over, so maybe it doesn't count, but it probably won't count. In actual fact, it will be the first $1 billion release of 2020. But point is, I'm not really worried, and it was inevitable. It was going to lose its number one position at some point because it's not get the legs of any other Star Wars movie. It's performing like a random blockbuster in the Christmas period. It's not performing like The Force Awakens or even The Last Jedi, which did hit a decent number, despite being absolutely slaughtered by fans alike and critics. Well, most of the critics enjoyed it. But I digress, Stephen. I'm done with that. I'm going to move on to another short little box office topic. This one's all about Avengers Endgame, which has not been in the theatres for about, I don't know, they re-released it briefly, didn't they, with an extended sequence, but it's been at least half a year since this movie's been in the theatres, and it of course did top Endgame or Avatar eventually to be the number one grossing all-time movie, but it's actually had even more money added on because I think it's China has re-tallied up the box office figures and they've discovered that they undersold it by $3 million, so it's now grossed over $2.8 billion worldwide. James Cameron will be having a fit. Maybe he's rushing about trying to drop another little illustration to send to Disney or the Russos to congratulate them once again. But
I think
it's just adding even more glamour to this movie, a gleam to it. It's just an incredible performance, really.
I think he put more effort into those illustrations than he did those ones that he released last week, John, for Avatar 2. It looked terrible. It looked like a computer game.
Oh, did you not like them? No, it was concept art though. I hope that's not the movie. Good Lord, I hope that's not the movie.
I didn't like the look of it, to be honest with you. If it's concept art, then fair dues, but no.
It did strike me strange, that it was digital concept art.
It's very unusual, for a country to get their figures wrong. Certainly China, but will it make a big dent in the actual figures? And certainly not. When you look at 2.8 billion, it's a drop in the pond compared to what they actually did gross overall. But I don't think it's really that. It's not really going to change anything, John. It really depends on your point of view, but James Cameron, I think he's got a lot in his hands just now. He's not really going to be paying attention to these things. I don't even think, John, to be honest with you, he's that fussed about trying to beat Endgame now. He's had such a successful career over the last 30-40 years anyway, and he's held on to some of the top spots for such a long time that he's got nothing to prove to anyone. So listen, it's good news for obviously Avengers fans that obviously like to brag a little, and gloat. So why not? Because it's a good film and it's another $3 million in the bank, isn't it, for the studio? So
it's a studio that doesn't need it.
No, exactly.
Well, I keep saying that, but they did take over Fox, so they're perhaps a little short in cash. Just keep pumping out all those classic animated remakes, and they'll keep raking the money in $1 billion every time.
And Simpsons too. Yeah,
that's coming. That is coming. We heard the producer speak about that. I think we spoke about that, Stephen.
We did, yeah.
But yeah, as you did say, I don't think James Cameron, I was being tongue-in-cheek, I don't think he's having a tantrum. I don't think he's kept up at night worrying about it.
No,
the guy's a one-man show, really.
John, yeah,
he's a one-man show, if you like, and he had 2 movies in the top 3. He still has, I think, top 3, 4 all-time grossing list, so guy's just a phenomenon on his own, an innovator, alongside perhaps Jon Favreau, the 2 leading men innovating camera techniques and just technology in Hollywood. So I'm sure you'll come out with Avatar 2 and it'll be reasonable. It may actually gross $2 billion, I doubt it though, and it's not getting anywhere near $2.8 billion, that's for sure. I don't think Endgame will ever be topped unless there's some franchise comes out, or maybe Disney build up this next phase of Avengers story or MCU stories, because it won't be Avengers to such an extent, but the next ensemble release could then top Endgame. But I think it's unlikely.
I think they've reached their peak, John, and and it's just a case of maintaining those sort of figures. But You're right. I think James Cameron. He's got so many fingers and so many pies with one franchise. All these sequels, it's ridiculous. I do hope that was concept art and it wasn't. It wasn't close to its final sort of vision.
I sincerely hope not, Stephen. But look, we will move on. I am done speaking about Endgame. I loved the movie. It was probably one of the best ends to a movie I've ever seen in terms of balls to the wall action. But look, next one, talking about balls to the wall action, Stephen, it's about the next Mission Impossible movie, and the one Christopher McQuarrie, of course the director of the previous two, directing this one, has confirmed that Nicholas Hoult is stepping on. He's done it on Instagram. I think he did this before with maybe, what was her name? I think it was an actress came on board. I completely forget her name at this moment, doesn't matter, but he did it before anyway. He has previous for Instagram, and he's just said, say at Nicholas Hoult, care to raise a little hell. Now, I don't know how to take this is just breaking incidentally from Empire. I don't know if he means that he's by care to break or to raise a little hell that he's going to be a villain. I don't know if he's been a villain, or perhaps he's just meaning as part of the whole Ethan group, expanded group, just raise a little hell. I don't know, but I'm excited for this. I love Nicholas Hoult as an actor. I think he's absolutely superb. He can do everything really. He's done it with X-Men. He's proven he can do the action genre. He can do drama driven stories like Tolkien. He does everything. So really excited to see this guy come on board from this onto this franchise, not from the franchise, and to see what Christopher McQuarrie can do going forward, because the last two movies have been wonderful. Fallout was my favourite action movie of that year.
Without comparing it, John, to obviously the other franchise, the one with the cars, what's it called again?
Fast and Furious.
Fast and Furious, I'm a big fan, you can tell. Actors and characters come in and out different sequels and stuff like that, and it's very similar to this franchise as well, where you've got the likes of Ving Rhames coming back from the very the very beginning of this franchise back in 1996. Rebecca Ferguson's going to be back, Simon Pegg, Paul Clementif as well, from Guardians is in there as well, Hayley Atwell. So
that's the one that get announced, Hayley Atwell.
Yeah, so to have someone like Nicholas Hoult in there, he's just such a great actor, John, and
I can see him playing the villain. I think he will play the villain.
I think it's going to be very interesting, because I can't off the top of my head think of a film that he plays a villain in.
No.
This is the same guy, that was put against your man for the Batman,
Robert Pattinson.
And I said at the time, you said at the time as well, either one of them will do, because the two of them are great. Nicholas Hoult, from where he started, John, or from one of the films that I first saw him in, About a Boy, you just knew there was a future there with him. He wasn't like your typical kid actor or anything like that. He wasn't your child actor. The same sort of the way that some kid actors have that kind of smarminess about them. They're very sure about themselves, that like they've got an adult's mind. It didn't really portray that in About a Boy. It just had a great performance, as a young kid, a confused young kid that was in a unusual situation with his mother, who I think she was a manic depressive. So and he handled that. It was ahead of his years, but not in a sort of smug way like a lot of kid actors do. And you're right, he can do it all. We've seen him in the X-Men films. I don't know how many it was, 3 he did, or maybe 4.
First Class onwards, wasn't it?
First Class,
Days of Future,
and then
Apocalypse,
and then 4 then, so
Phoenix.
So he's done 4 of them films, John, and it was a good addition to that franchise as well. You're right, Tolkien was one of the sort of ones that were really under the radar for such a subject. I felt
really good movie.
Yeah, it should have done a lot better, with advertising the film. Certainly over here, I thought it would have done better. It did okay, but I just think with the subject matter, who was obviously playing him, it should have done a bit better. But I think it's a great addition, John. I think he will blend in well with those other actors, and you're right, it'll be very interesting to see if he's going to play a villain up against Tom Cruise.
I think he will. I think this is exactly. Also, we had Henry Cavill come in Fallout and play the villain.
Yeah.
I always forget the guy. I think he plays Solomon or something. He's got a really unique face, ginger hair. He's a great actor. He played a continuation. Didn't die in Fallout, so he may come back again.
Yeah.
But you have got Rebecca Ferguson coming back as well. So he's done a great job of combining all of these different movies and creating an overarching story with this nefarious group of how would you call it? I don't know. Underground terrorist network. I keep wanting to say terrorist like Alan Partridge. But he did a great job of keeping that continuity, and by all accounts he's shooting 2 movies back to back. One will come out 2021, one will come out 2022. So maybe he's bringing on Nicholas Hoult with the intention to have him play a villain over 2 movies. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because it's just a shame that Henry Cavill's character died off in that movie. Well, yeah, he definitely died off. I had to think. He got flung off a cliff. His head get impaled with a hook from a helicopter, and then it blew up on top of him. So he's definitely,
Solo moment,
he's definitely dead, Henry Cavill. So that was a shame because he was quite interesting in the movie. But I suppose he reached his natural conclusion. But look, I digress. I'm intrigued. I can't wait to see Christopher McQuarrie continuing this story. Tom Cruise, guy doesn't age really when it comes to doing his own stunts and whatnot. Yeah. And it'll be really intriguing to see what role Hoult does when he comes in. But look, we'll move on, Stephen, to the next and final article, news, topic, whatever you want to call it, of the show. Before we move on to box office, this one is all about Christopher Nolan's Tenet and why it's taking a big chance with an insanely huge budget. This is coming in from MovieWeb, and they're saying that because it does have a budget of $205 million, which is even bigger than The Dark Knight's $185 million budget, that this is a huge risk being posed by Warner Brothers and Christopher Nolan. What's your thoughts on it? Because I have my thoughts. I don't think it's a risk at all.
This is a man who I think his budget for Inception was 160 million, John. Yeah. And I think it grossed over 800 million, sorry. Yeah. 800,000. That would have been a flop. 800 million, for that one film alone. So, yes, certainly, but I think, he's certainly in the black, because, if you want to compare his outgoings and his incomings. I don't think it's a risk, I've got to be honest with you. I think that's a bit of a... I think the title of this article is very unjustly, it's Christopher Nolan, and the sort of early reactions to this film as well, Tenet, is very positive, you did the trailer reaction for it, John.
Thought it was fantastic.
And I think we got a good response from it as well, from our YouTube following, which we always appreciate.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's had a great...
Get destroyed with his iPad here,
I'm kind of not trying to look at that, John, it's kind of catching the corner.
I don't think I'll use this again, Stephen.
No, I thought it was it was my idea, sorry, but I thought it would have been good. But I think it's a bit unjustly, John. I don't think it's insanely a huge budget for a Christopher Nolan, production or direction, whatever you want to call it. You take risks with these kind of directors because they've had so much success. It's not a rookie director's his first attempt at making a blockbuster film or anything like that. This is Christopher Nolan, for God's sake. He's up there with the Tarantinos and the Scorseses as far as I'm concerned. That's my opinion.
Up there with the Kubricks for me, Stephen. The guy's not put a foot wrong.
Yeah, I mean, every film he's in, he's just it's his own world. Only a few directors can do this. Where you see a film in its style and you go, that's a Scorsese film. I can tell right away it's a Scorsese film. That's a Christopher Nolan film. It's not any different to me.
Yeah, Stephen, look, I don't think it's a risk at all. I think the guy's proven himself that he can take any concept, any genre, and make it pop and make it work and earn money. He did it with Dunkirk. This is a little-known mission or operation outside of the shores of America, of course, little known. Over here, we know very much about it. But in terms of the scale of World War II, little-known mission, he took it and he grossed over $500 million worldwide with it. So if he can take that movie, period piece set in World War II, about a British-centric failed operation, and still gross that kind of money, then I think with this espionage, sci-fi, time-warping thing, which is more akin to what we've seen with maybe even Interstellar and Inception, meddling with time again.
Time heist.
Yeah, exactly, with the actors he's got coming in, Robert Pattinson, John David Washington, I think his name is. I always get a bit dodgy with that name. It's incredible what he's got at his hands here, and I think it will absolutely gross. I think it will gross $800 million plus. It's not a risk at all. That says to you before we come on, Stephen, he's a zeitgeist sort of director now. Every movie that he brings out, it's like an event. He poses or leaves a nice little gap between releases, 3, 4, 5 years, and you start building up anticipation. People start wondering, what is he working on? When's it coming out? And that's why the he's gold for me. He'll not put a foot wrong. I mean, how many movies has he made? Is it 10, 11? And not one is bad. I don't really know if it is as much as that, Stephen. It might be less, but you could make one argument for The Dark Knight Rises being below standard, but it still made money. Out with that, never put a foot wrong, and he's not putting a foot wrong with this. From the trailers, looks absolutely incredible. Music, cinematography, what he's doing with effects, I cannot wait to see it, man. Not a risk. Screw you, movie web. You're talking absolute nonsense. And on that note, Stephen, we will move on to box office for the weekend of January 3rd to 5th, 2020. What have we got coming in at number 1 this week? Slightly contradicting our leading article, but this is in the UK, guys.
This is box office in brackets UK, so we're not contradicting ourselves, John. It's in its third week. It's Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, grossing £5.7 million over the weekend, 66.9 million overall. This is in dollars, by the way, again.
Yeah, dollars, I think it's probably sitting closer to $50 million just now, in between $50 and $60 million. I think I predicted before that came out that it would probably gross close to $60 to $70 million. I thought I'd maybe undervalued its performance before it came out, but now that I see it, I think it may be struggling to hit that $70 million. I think it'll be bang on, $60 to $70 million, which is, it's what I expected. I didn't expect this movie to do unbelievable numbers, be our next Force Awakens. It's not a zeitgeist movie like The Force Awakens was. It's the end of a saga which has been middling at best. $989.6 million worldwide, incidentally, so it's not quite hit that $1 billion mark yet, but it will. But it'll not hit Rogue One numbers.
No, certainly not, John. But we'll really move on to number 2 this week. It's Jumanji: The Next Level in its 4th week now, and it's grossed $4 million, pounds, whatever it is, over the weekend, 37.4 million overall. Still
not seen this movie, Stephen, which is a shame. I've still got a chance. It's still in there. I'll probably give it a bash just for Dwayne alone. Apparently it's pretty good. It's not quite as good as the first one by all accounts, but still decent, and these actors have got great chemistry together, and they apparently make it better than the actual story perhaps is worth on its lonesome. $671.1 million worldwide. That is a success again. They only had a $125 million budget. Sony are just going to keep green-lighting sequels to this until it underperforms or one of them pops or clogs, and hopefully that doesn't happen. I quite like Jack Black, and he's probably the most likely. Although saying that, when Kevin Hart's having crashes and breaking his back in like 3 places, maybe I'm doing a disservice to Jack Black there.
Number 3 this week, John. I'm a big Jack Black fan.
Hope he's retiring.
Yeah, I mean, he's done it all.
He's not retiring.
The Gentleman, John, in its first week, it's grossed $4 million overall. This is obviously the Guy Ritchie film.
Yes, the Guy Ritchie film, which I had in my top 10 most anticipated, and I've still not went to see it. Wow, I've been a busy boy, Steve. I've seen 1917, I've watched JoJo Rabbit, and I have a sick Labrador, so there's only so much time. Sadly, I'm not like Inception, Interstellar, going down a black hole, and I can manipulate time itself. I've got a limit to what I can do, and I do work, guys. But look, I'll see it. I'm really excited for it. I cannot wait to see Charlie Hunnam and Hugh Grant and just a whole host of actors in here, really. I think Matthew McConaughey's playing the villain in it, so I cannot wait to see it. $14.2 million overall. It's not doing great. I hope that's not a sign of the artistic merit of the movie, because I keep hitting this little thing next to me, because I really like the look of this movie, and I'd look foolish if it turned out to be a turd.
I don't know. I
don't think it will.
No, I don't think it will, John. It's a Guy Ritchie film. You know what you're getting. But coming in at number 4, it's Little Women, and its second week, it's 3.4 million over the weekend, 11.9 million. This was actually in Gianni's, one of our writers. I think it came in at number 2 in his 2019. Certainly over here, it's only in its second week, so this is another film, John, that obviously only came out here in the UK, just at the turn of the new year.
Stephen, I think I says last week I would want to go and watch it, and I do, because it doesn't surprise me. It's in his top 10, right down at maybe number 2. You've got Saoirse Ronan, Emma Watson, there's another one that eludes me, it's in there, really well known actress. So it's got a great cast. It's also a remake of one, I think, from the 90s. It's an interesting story. I think it's been remade a couple of times.
I think it's been maybe 4 or 5 times this has been done, John.
But it's actually up theatres. It's up 75 theatres, so it's not going anywhere.
No.
And it's grossed over $100 million, $40 million budget. It's not too bad. It's just about breaking even at the moment, I would have thought. But I'm assuming it will go on and make more money and become a nice little profit. So that's nice. I'll hopefully help it. I'm going to watch it. Another
nice little film, John, coming in at number 5 is JoJo Rabbit. We spoke about it last Friday. It's in its first week here in the UK, apparently, and it's grossed £3.2 million overall.
Stephen, that's a real disappointment for that movie to only gross that amount. We're supposed to be a country that grasps satire, and I was slagging
as well.
I was slagging Taika off for not releasing it here earlier. And then it does that in the box office, you idiots. $30.8 million worldwide, incidentally. I don't know what the budget is. But I hope it makes a profit, because good lord, I loved that movie. I just thought it was fantastic.
Yeah,
everything
excellent.
about it, the humour, the blending of tones, everything, man, I loved it. I love Tiger, and I hope it makes a sizable profit, but it's not starting well, so
No.
who knows. I've done my bit. That's what it is.
Yeah, coming in at number 6 this week, John, it's Andre Rieu. 70 years young, he certainly is.
Yes.
And its first week, it's grossed £2.2 million over the weekend.
Yes, he's 70 years young, Stephen. As you do know, I've been to see Andre 5 times, I want to say, in the last 6-7 years.
Since he was 65, yeah.
65. I first went, I think, 2013, so 5 years. I'm actually going this May as well to go and see Andre. Big fan of him. Love Johann Strauss. That's why I loved Johann Strauss's Voices of Spring appearing in JoJo Rabbit.
Yeah.
Picked up on it right away. A little dig at the Nazis, because Johann was a Jew. So yeah, I digress. I've not been to see this. I did say to you, I ain't going back to watch any more Andre Rieu stuff in the cinema. I went to see a Maastricht one, a live show, and old people were putting up their phones and
I
little
thought you were going to
lights.
say lighters there, John.
Yeah, they
in
were
the
putting
theatre. That is dangerous.
They were shining
Yeah.
lights in the theatre, and I was like, what is going on here? So
Well, it's not the old-fashioned felt seats, I suppose, so it wouldn't have been that big a risk, I suppose. But listen,
2.5 million, it's not too bad. It's okay.
Yeah.
That's the power of Andre.
yeah, that's
All
it.
demographics.
70 years young. Yeah, here's Frozen
Still
2
got a spring
coming in,
step.
John, at number 7 this week, and its 7th week. It's grossed another 2.2 million over the weekend, 65.1 million overall.
I have still not seen this movie, and at this stage I don't think I'm going to see this movie. I keep hitting this bloody thing next to me. I'm going to end up punching it into the wall over there. But yeah, Stephen, I love 2.1 million, $65 million.
I've seen it, John.
Over at the United Kingdom. I have not seen it. 1.4, just shy of
It is
$1.4 billion.
not as good as the original, I've got to say. It's a decent film, John, but it's not as
And
memorable.
it's the most successful animated, computer-generated animated movie. I don't know what that means. Computer-generated
Don't say cartoon.
animated movie.
Yeah,
It's
that's the
the
one.
same thing. It's the most successful animated movie of all
Yeah.
time.
It's a good film,
Got there in the
John,
end.
but if, in comparison to the original, it's not a patch on it. If I was to do comparisons, with another sort of Disney, animated film, The Incredibles, I felt Incredibles 2 matched the original. This one doesn't. It's a good
Toy
film,
Story.
don't get me wrong. I don't want people coming on slating me for saying that. It's a good film, it's just not a great film.
I don't think you'll have people coming on and slating you, Stephen, for slagging Frozen 2. I think you're just fine there.
Yeah.
But look, moving on to number 8, it is Spies in Disguise.
Yeah.
It's grossed.
And
I
its
don't know
second
what.
week, John, it's grossed 1.5 million over the weekend, 5.6 million overall. Don't know really too much about this film, to be honest
It's
with you.
a Walt Disney animated movie with Will Smith and Tom Holland lending their voice. I have not seen it, Stephen. I did see the trailer. It looked like a rip-off of Incredibles. Funny you mentioned it. $115 million overall. Don't have budget information. Middling to lower class Disney animated movie though. That's what it is. They don't care. They've
They
made
don't
so
care.
much money.
No.
They could put out anything. Put out.
Well, here's one that was put out the litter tray. It's coming in at number 9. It's Cats Meow, and its third week, John. It's grossed at £1.3 million over the weekend. 13.3 million cat sands.
13.3 million. Who's went out and watched this movie? Me, for one.
Probably
There's
cats.
the thing.
Yeah.
Yes, I went out and watched it, Stephen. I was one of the idiots that helped fund this to £13 million. Or $13 million.
What was it Ricky Gervais says again? It was the worst thing to happen to cats since
Since
dogs.
dogs,
Yeah.
yes. And Judi Dench has also came out. And she's
Not happy.
yeah, she's licking something. But look, $59.5 million overall. I think that's about as good as they could possibly hope for. $95 million budget. It's a flippity floppity. Sorry, Tom. I went to see it. No one else did.
Can remain in the litter tray, John. We'll just move on to the final
I'm a dog
film
person
this
anyway.
week in the box office here in the UK. It's Playing with Fire in its second week. It's grossed £700,000 over the weekend, 2.7 million overall.
Yeah, this is the John Cena movie about also the fireman who has to look after some brats.
We
And,
did a reaction test.
we
didn't
did do a
we?
reaction. It
Yeah.
looked very funny, but apparently the movie itself is a pile of shit. It's not getting good response from the critics.
The best bits were in the trailer.
Yeah, clearly, yeah. Obviously, that foam, I think, in the actual room, I think there was lots of foam, and he had it in his head, John Cena. It got delayed. That sparked some issues. The studio maybe had a lemon on their hands, and by all accounts they have. $29.9 million budget, $60 million overall, so it's a flippity floppity flop for John. But he doesn't care, because he'll just move on. He's got that nice WWE contract, and he makes money anyway, so I don't care. Do you care, Stephen?
Nope.
Well, on that note, that's going to round up box office then, because I have got not much more to add to it. What's your thoughts on The Rise of Skywalker finally losing number 1 to Sam Mendes' 1917? Do you care that Avengers Endgame, not Avatar, has grossed another $3 million at the box office? What was your thoughts on Nicholas Hoult joining Mission Impossible? And is Tenet a big gamble for Christopher Nolan and Warner Brothers? If you have anything to say at all, you can comment below and let us know what your thoughts are down below in the comment section. You can also like the video if you've enjoyed it, and you can subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content. And if you do, then you'll see us back again tomorrow for MBE Heroes.